How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, as we can see, the new year for the enemy, because this is not our new year at all, my royal family. Our new year is in March, and we should take this very, very serious. I was telling my husband, I said to him, remember that the enemy is celebrating the dead. There is no life during the new year, and we celebrate life when things bloom and blossom. And what I have observed about the new year for the enemy, it's rolling along like it's not a new year. And the events that are going on between Iran and America has been prophesied and is no joke. And the enemy reads the word, and some of them take it as a joke, and their arrogance is, well, we are the superpower, and we have the best arms in the world. You know, they like to flex, or she likes to flex her muscle. And it's amazing how history repeats itself, that the people literally just have what's in their own hands, rocks, and they'll win with that. There's an energy around that, my royal family. But the things that I have been observing closely, and there's a few stories I'm going to present today, shows the enemy, the tyranny that they are dealing with. Now, they still want to put up the illusion like everything is grand and great in America. And I'm going to explain to y'all, in the end, I have to hold myself back, what is exactly going to happen to Trump, and is happening to Trump now, and how America is on the world stage, and how they view America, and how they view America's leader. So we're going to go on this journey. It will get spiritual, because I went how I was led, and I'm going to be obedient to the best of my ability. So we have a video here, and it basically says, Trump blames Iran for Baghdad embassy attack. Well, let's get into this first video.
For more, let's bring in Behnam Ben Taleblu and Ben Tracy. Behnam is a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Ben is a CBS News White House correspondent traveling with the president in West Palm Beach, Florida. Welcome to both of you. Ben Tracy, first to you. How is the president responding to this, and was the administration taken by surprise?
This does seem to have caught the White House off guard, and the president did respond very quickly, very early this morning. Just after 7 o'clock, he sent out a tweet, which is his favorite form of communication. In that tweet, he said that Iran is orchestrating an attack on the U.S. embassy. They will be held fully responsible. He went on to say, we expect Iraq to defend the embassy, and they have been so notified. Now, we also know that the Secretary of State followed up on that. He called the Iraqi president, the Iraqi prime minister, and reiterated the expectation of the U.S. that the Iraqi forces help protect that embassy. A little bit later on, the White House press secretary released a statement that vaguely said it will be up to the president as to how and when the U.S. responds to what the White House is calling an escalation on the part of the Iranians.
Behnam, former National Security Advisor John Bolton tweeted saying, quote, the attack on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad is straight from Iran's playbook in 1979. It's a sign of Iranian control over Shia militia groups, not a sign of Iraqi anti-Americanism. We must protect our citizens from Iranian belligerents. Is Bolton right? And if so, what is the benefit here for Iran?
Elaine, Ben, great to be with you. I think the tweet by the former National Security Advisor is absolutely correct and is 100% on point here. This is tried and true from the Iranian playbook. The Islamic Revolution in 1979 was quickly followed with the hostage-taking on November 4, 1979, that led to a 444-day hostage crisis. In October of this year, the editor-in-chief of a hardline newspaper in Tehran recommended Iraqis do exactly what the Iranians had done to the U.S. Embassy in Tehran to the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. So this is absolutely from the Iranian playbook. The Iranians have a strong amount of control over many of the militias in the PMU and the popular mobilization units. When you look at the videos, you see a lot of the flags that carry imagery that is linked to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. These really are Iran's agents of influence in Iraq, and it behooves Washington to step up, protect its assets, protect its interest, as well as protect its allies and partners abroad from the retribution of these agents of influence.
Ben, up until now, sanctions have really been the main measure taken against Iran, not military strikes. So remind us what the Trump administration's policy actually is.
Well, it's hard to tell what the policy is and if there's going to be any sort of shift now that this has taken place. You'll recall that the president has been very reluctant to want to get into any sort of military conflict with Iran. He has a very well-articulated and strong aversion to these wars in the Middle East, which he often derisively calls wars over sand. So this is not something President Trump wants to get into quickly. So he has relied on sanctions, but I think when you look at that, you have to say sanctions really haven't gotten the desired result here if it's to get Iran to back down. Back in June, there was this moment where it appeared that the president was ready to take military action. That's when Iran had shot down a U.S. surveillance drone, and there were plans drawn up at the Pentagon and the White House, and the president pulled back on it at the last minute and reverted to sanctions. So these airstrikes that took place earlier this weekend, this was really the first time where we were seeing military force being used. And I think the reason for that is because you did have a dead American, and the feeling was that there had to be some sort of response. Where we go from here, we don't know yet. The White House is being very vague and giving the president a lot of leeway for a lot of options.
Well, Ben, as Ben just said a moment ago, critics of the president say that the president's approach to Iran has been a failure because regional provocations have escalated and the country is resuming its nuclear program. What is your assessment?
Well, this may sound perverse, but the uptick in regional provocations, as well as Iran's gradual leaving of the 2015 nuclear deal known as the JCPOA, is a perverse measure of success of the sanctions policy. Iran did not expect Washington to be able to do unilaterally in about a year's time what took multilaterally about a decade of time to do, and that is to replicate all this pain against the shipping sector of Iran, the energy sector, Iran's oil sales, and have this macroeconomic contraction on almost every level of the Iranian economy. The max pressure policy that the president has implemented for the past year or so is a strategy of cost imposition. It's supposed to make the Islamic Republic fight these regional wars with one arm tied behind its back. So it is bleeding the Islamic Republic, and because the Islamic Republic is bleeding, it's lashing out in an attempt to stop the sanctions. Now, what's happening right now is there's a game of chicken. Washington is probably going to escalate the sanctions in 2020, and Iran is probably going to escalate its regional belligerence in 2020, and Iraq looks like it's going to be a key theater.
All right, we'll continue to watch it closely. Ben and Ben Talablu.
All right, as we continue on, my royal family, let's get into this next article. I'm not going to read all of this article. I will pin this article. And it says here, the embassy attack revealed Trump's weaknesses. Over the last 18 months, Donald Trump has picked a fight with Iran that he won't end and can't win. This fight has had horrifying consequences for the Iranian people, led Tehran to restart its nuclear program, and now left parts of the American embassy compound in Baghdad in flames in the days and weeks to come. Trump's policy will likely lead either to war or additional American humiliation or both. Again, additional American humiliation, or both. We're going to get a little bit deeper than that. So let's check this video out. So there is a response to all of this drama directly to Trump.
From the U.S. president as violence erupts at the American embassy in Baghdad for a second day. Donald Trump says Iran will pay a, quote, big price for any death or destruction after protesters began storming the building on Tuesday. They are angry over U.S. airstrikes launched against an Iran-backed militia over the weekend. As far as Tehran goes, it is denying having any role in these attacks. A short time ago, Iran's supreme leader scoffed at Donald Trump's threat, saying the U.S., quote, can't do anything.
When they come across incidents like this, as you can now see in Baghdad, all across Iraq, the frenzied feelings against America at the level that they are, then again that guy tweets or gives a speech or writes a report that we see Iran responsible, Iran has a hand in it, and we will respond to Iran. Firstly, you are wrong. It has nothing to do with Iran. Secondly, if you were logical, which you are not, Americans must have common sense, and they should know that they don't. You would see that the people of the countries in this region hate you. Why do they not know this? You Americans committed crimes in Iraq. You committed crimes in Afghanistan. You killed people.
The view from Iran there. Well, CNN's Ara Damon is standing by for us in Baghdad with the very latest outside of the U.S. Embassy, and you're overlooking the city now. Arwa, what's the situation at the embassy itself?
Well, Hala, we left a short while ago because the Iraqi security forces came and said, look, we're restoring things back to normal. This is not an area where you can stand and broadcast. The protesters did end up ultimately withdrawing because they say they had delivered their message to America, but they were making preparations, Hala, to stay for the long haul. They had tents, they had mattresses, they had latrines, but it seems like the leadership decided that it was at this point the time to begin withdrawing. They had torched every single entrance to this massive sprawling U.S. embassy compound. They had tried to breach it. They put their flags up all over the outer wall. Now, the Iraqi security forces are there right now. The big question is, where were they when these protesters were torching things? Where were they when the protesters were attempting to breach the walls? We ran into the Minister of Interior while we were down there, and he evaded the question. But we did speak to one of the soldiers who is stationed in the area, and he said, look, when they came, what were we supposed to do? Had we actually tried to confront them, it potentially would have led to something significantly bloodier. And that really goes to the core of all of this, Hala. Who were these protesters? These were not your ordinary protesters. The vast majority of them were members of or supporters of what's known as the Popular Mobilization Force. This is a paramilitary force that is by and large made up of former fighters who were parts of any number of Shia militias who were mostly supported, trained, equipped by Iran back in the days of the U.S. occupation, who came together as a response to ISIS sweeping through huge swaths of Iraq. And in the years that followed, they were ostensibly meant to be coming under the control of the Iraqi security forces, although, as we have seen, the exact amount of control Baghdad actually has over them is actually very questionable. Now, while we were down there, we also talked to the spokesperson for Kataib Hezbollah. That is the group that was targeted by those U.S. airstrikes that took place on Sunday that led to all of this. He said that they had decided to withdraw because they had delivered their message to America, and that now they were going to allow an undefined amount of time for the Iraqi parliament to go through whatever process it needs to go through to demand that the Americans leave Iraq, because they said that is their ultimate goal.
All right, my royal family. Let me shut this down quickly. Put this on mute. before I get into the next phase of what I'm going to talk about. Now, we must understand how the world looks at America and how the world looks at America's leader. Now, he's on the world stage, and they know he's a buffoon, but he's doing a beautiful job in many ways of tearing down America. And America looks very weak. Now, the first part of this message for me is that since Trump has been impeached, and I don't give a damn if the paperwork was submitted or not, it actually happened. To hell with the paperwork. He was put on the world stage, and it shows that there are some issues in America. And I talked about the house being divided. You know, Satan and Satan in the same house. They jockeying for power. The house is not going to stand. So their leader is a mockery. And we've seen already Trump over in European countries being mocked and made fun of. And he felt some kind of way. So can you imagine the other countries? Let's exclude all European countries and how their government is looking at America. So back to Iran. Their leader let Trump know it ain't shit you can do. He's basically being punked. And anytime a bully picks on people and eventually somebody get enough courage to punch the bully or do whatever they need to humiliate the bully, eventually others are going to take a chance on your ass. So Trump is marked, but essentially America is marked. Now we get into, again, the spiritual aspects of this. Now everything that I'm going to present at this point, continue to present at this point, I was led this way. I was digging for one thing, and our Father presented what he presented, and I'm going to be obedient. So I'm going to read a bit of something here. And I came up on this, End Times Bible Prophecy, Understanding Yahweh's Word. Let's just say his word, straight up his word. So where is this at? This one little part I want to read. His word is being prophesied. As that said, they should it matter that the prophets long ago identified these nations as end time enemies of Israel. Then they put because. Through careful study of the scriptures, one can see today's geopolitics landscape aligning itself for fulfillment of these very end times Bible prophecies. And of course, in order to fulfill end times Bible prophecies, we must be in the end times. And the scriptures reveal that Yahushua will return as the final fulfillment of all end times prophecies. So current events in the Middle East shall serve as a reminder of Yahushua's imminent return. Okay. So I was like, powerful. So as I'm doing my research, I land here. Isaiah 17, will Israel nuke Damascus? Why not? Yet from Psalms 83. Okay, I said, okay, let me go back and read Isaiah 17. So I read it and I studied it, but I said, I want those words to be read out or explained more in depth, because I don't want to mess it up. I'm a student, like many. So this is what I'm going to play first here. It's a little over 3 minutes, and we will just read all together, silently. Okay, my royal family. So, that was powerful. And like I said, I was led here. So we must get in Psalms 83. And before I play this one, One thing that I want to say is we should try our best to our ability to get out of being hell-bent on being absolutely right. Let's remember and continue to keep on our frontal lobe that our word has been desecrated, continue to be desecrated. There is things that have been taken from us, destroyed, buried, pillaged, robbed, burnt, all of that. We know for a fact what the Vatican possesses, and no telling us of the unknown. So let's not boggle ourselves down on being absolutely right because we don't agree with everything other people say. It's a lot I don't agree with, but I always remember what has happened to us. And we will bog down ourselves being hell-bent, because that's the message that I've been getting a lot for people that want to be hell-bent towards me. And I come here humble. I came here saying that I know I'm saying things wrong. I come here saying that I'm always willing to learn. And anytime man has their hand in anything, even the ones that are earnest in truly seeking may make mistakes. And I don't fault you for them, and I don't want to be fought for them too. And they want to keep confusion amongst the royal family. Think about who we are first and foremost, and how we are despised, dejected, and hated worldwide. People hate us to their core because they know who we are, and they are in great denial. And there are others that want to be inclusive with us, and we, not knowing the absolute truth, will even welcome some of these people to be inclusive with us. And at the end of the day, Lisa Cabrera said, our Father will get all of that straightened out. So continue to seek truth, but let's not get on that hell-bent type of stuff. Get what you can get, and that is it. And we need to continue to minister with each other, because we all out here studying, hopefully, and trying to get to the truth as close as possible. Oops.
Give me the book of Psalms, chapter 83. Psalms chapter 83 and verse 2.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. A tumult is a harsh discussion, a conference, a very angry mob of people, mad. They make a tumult. A tumultuous thing is going on among the enemies of Israel. Okay? Read.
And they that hate thee.
And they that hate the nation of Israel. Who hates the nation of Israel? All nations. You read about that in the book of Matthew. Okay? And ye shall be hated of all the nations. So that's who's hating us. Go ahead.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
And they that hate the Israelites, they hate the Most High, they hate Jesus the Christ. You open up the Bible and you read about what Christ looks like. He's a black man. That's what the Bible says. All the Bibles on the planet Earth says that. But our enemies don't want us to know that. I'm going to show you how bad our enemies don't want us to know things. Read on.
They have taken crafty counsel.
Our enemies have taken crafty counsel. Crafty counsel. Not regular counsel. Crafty counsel. Deep counsel. Think tank type of counsel. Deep staying up all night kind of counsel. Getting no sleep kind of counsel. So you can understand, that's what crafty means. That they thought about the effects of their counsel and its effects 500 some odd years down the road. That's the kind of counsel that they did against us. Come on.
Against thy people.
Against the Israelites. Against God's people. The Israelites. Read.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And they have consulted against thy hidden ones. Hidden ones. Because we are not known in the earth unless we put it out there. Because the churches are not going to tell you. The churches are not going to tell the world that you're God's people. Can I get a witness? Ain't no religion, no educational program in school, history, nothing is going to tell the world that you're the children of the Most High. None of them doing that. So we're the hidden ones, and we're the only ones that's going to make it unhidden. Y'all follow me? They have consulted together with one consent, and they gave crafty counsel. Let me give you an example of crafty counsel. Abiel, give me the thing with the book. Give me the thing with the book. I'm going to show you. Just put it up there. Isaac, continue reading.
Verse 4. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
That's what they need to do. They need to cut us off from being a nation. Because that's what the whole thing is about. As long as we act like Negroes, pay attention. Pay attention. I'll deal with this. I just want them to put it up there. Stay with me. As long as we call ourselves Negroes, call ourselves West Indian, Haitian, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Cubans, the nation, our enemies love that. Because that's a divided people. But once we begin to realize that we are the Israelites of one nation, our enemies get mad. I'm going to show you how mad they get. I'm going to show you the extensive thought put into their anger to prevent you from waking up and realizing that you're a nation. Read it again, verse 4.
They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
They have said, come and let us, all the nations together, let us cut them off from being a nation of people. That's your history. This is what happened to us. Read.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
So do they want us to know that we're the Israelites? No. So there must be something very important about you realizing that you're the Israelites. There must be something. Even if we ourselves don't understand that, the nations know that if these people ever find out who they are, we're in trouble. They ain't going to tell you that. Y'all follow me? Because if we don't really know as a people how important it is for us to know that we're the Israelites. Some of us are thinking like it doesn't really matter. But your enemies, they know how important it is. I'm going to show you how much they know how important it is for you to not know that you're Israel. Read it again, Isaac.
Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
The nations are saying, I'm making it sure that you never come to the knowledge that you're the Israelites. I'm going to show you how important it is. In my hand, I ain't even talking about the Bible yet. I'm talking about what they have written in their own books. In my hand is a book entitled Lost Tribes and the Promised Lands. I purchased this book 23 years ago. You know how much I paid for it? $13. Show that. Get it for the camera. The back of the book has the actual price on it. But because the Israelites began to go into this book and prove that the Native Americans and the whole Southern Kingdom are Israelites. We started teaching that, and our enemies said, wait a minute, we got to stop it. How much is that book today? You see that over there? That's the same book that I paid $13 for. How much is it now? $2,936 used. Do y'all see this? Why in the world would they take a book and price it out of range? Because I can't even imagine anyone of our people that will even spend a quarter of that on a book. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Hold it. Let me just finish and I'm going to give it to you. I want y'all to understand what that verse just said. Read that again, Isaac.
Verse 4, they have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
That the name of Israel may be out of your reach. You finding out about who you are out of your reach. Now that's just dealing with books. They've also done the same thing when it comes to the Bible. Because the real teachings about the Bible, they're against that. Because as the Israelites come out and really teach this book in its proper form, your enemy's going to have a problem with that. I just proved it. Y'all just saw that. Because Negroes didn't jack the price up. Your enemies jacked the price up. All praises to the Most High and His Son, Jesus the Christ.
All right, my royal family. So, I went and took a look for this book that he was talking about. And maybe at that time that this brother was seeking this book, it was the price that he said it was. And I have seen books that they don't want us to read to be $3,000 and $4,000. He's telling the truth. And what I could find at this point, this particular book is reasonably priced. Actually, wait a minute. Let me go here. Let me go here for a second. I just something caught my eye. He's right. Here it is right here for over $1,500. Plus, they want then the taxes on it is $124.12. Ooh, these people something else. So yes, the brother's absolutely right. And I was not trying to seek like he was wrong. I just wanted to see what else did they have there. And I was able to get it on my Kindle for $8.49. And so get that book. But I would imagine, because I didn't look even further than what I had right here, that they do have this book overly priced. And anytime they have it overly priced like that, that's something that they don't want us to know about thyself. And I know a lot of people are in disagreement with the way the charts is set up. I am one of them too as well. But doing my deeper research, the different breakdown of the people that they have on the chart, the different tribes, these are still black people. They're still black people, because when you start looking into the origin of many races, they start with us. You can go to the Asian race, and there are still black folks with kinky and curly hair, very dark skin, that look like you and I, because we cover the whole spectrum, and we already know that. But that's something that gets to folks, and it's one of these people. I'm one of those people that it gets to as well. So, like I said, that's why I started the introduction like that. But I'm not going to ignore scripture, and it's powerful when it comes from a black man, because it drives the enemy crazy. So, like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm looking at the new year of the enemy, and it doesn't seem like a new year at all. Basically, their leader, let's put this up here, is letting Trump know. Let's see if we can get this full thing presented without it doing something janky. Look how small it is. I ain't gonna even make it big. That Now, you're not going to win this. You're not going to win this at all. This has been prophesied. And, Trump likes to beat on his chest, but Trump is really preoccupied with his immediate situation. Trump has absolutely no knowledge at all about foreign policy. He don't know what the hell he's dealing with, even right in front of his own lap. But we do need Trump 4 more years, because look at the speed, at the destruction that's going on globally, actually. But we're going to focus just on America. Need not fear, my royal family. Remember, we know the ending of the enemy story, and we know the beginning of ours. So as quick as the enemy fall, we are rising up. Now, I know overall you probably cannot see it yet, but this is where we must demonstrate our total faith. Our total faith. Because some days are going to be bleak, but we must have full faith, total faith of Yahweh and Yahweh only. Esau has been warned more than once. So, my royal family, render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And it's always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.